So Mythic VOD for this boss. I will try to post something. I couldn't find anything that was really worth a crap. Marsh, the GM Consequence, posted a video today that kind of explains some of the mythic changes, but I couldn't see them on any of the mythic VODs that I was checking out. So maybe it's new from the testing. I'm not 100% sure. There is a couple things I want to point out that we didn't talk about last time. Um, the hitboxes of these bosses on the last PTR testing was very strange. So these guys' big red circle around them is like this large, right? But the 15-yard range that they can't come within proximity of was based off of the center of their hitbox, not the entire circle of their hitbox. So that's why in a lot of VODs you saw these guys getting really, really close to one another. Obviously, I have no idea which one they are going to go with, but just something to keep in mind when we go into like normal to start testing out some stuff to see if it's what it was on the last testing or if it's a lot larger than that. So the other thing I want to point out is this frontal cone. They put the fear back in. Oh no, I've been inactive and it just logged me out as I swapped over. Huge. They put the fear back in to the tooltip, so it will fear. It can be dispelled. It can be tremor totemed. All of that stuff. So let's just go ahead and get rid of that. Bang. What I think we will do as of right now is this sphere will always go to the same side of the room every single time. So for example, if we put down like an X marker, you will always take it and point it at the X marker. So that way you're never pointing it at the raid team or whatever. This tank beam, it's actually more complicated than I originally thought, tanks. You guys can step out of this beam. You don't have to take the entire thing. However, the amount of stacks you are able to eat from this will make the pull-in from the tether mechanic weaker. So the higher stacks you guys take, the less strong this tether becomes. There's definitely going to be a sweet spot. Thick as a DK, I don't know if you like AMS, if it's going to prevent you from getting stacks. I assume it will. So this is probably not something. Yeah, but this is probably not something you're going to be able to AMS to help out the entire raid, just as a heads up. The other thing too, tanks, this tether location is based off of where you are standing when this null beam starts. So you can make it so that this is like out here or up here, and everyone can snap it super quickly. But so you guys just need to be aware of whatever your positioning needs to be. The biggest thing about Vaelgor is that he does do a tail whip situation. So if the raid is standing here, you guys cannot have his ass facing the raid. You have to keep him perpendicular to us. If you do get us tail whipped, it launches us almost off the entire map from the center of the room. And I'm not making that up. It's a massive knockback. So yeah, we will want to position the boss in a way so that we start this tether so that this is easily breakable by the entire team. One little thing before we do this is when we do this on Mythic, the first tether snap is going to shoot things on the ground that we need to dodge. It's just puddles on the ground. It's nothing too crazy. Every time that we break a tether, it does AoE damage to the entire team. So essentially what that means is we will want to stagger break these tethers. So you don't want to put the center of this tether ball so far away that everyone snaps at once, but you don't want to put it, too close that everyone snaps at once, but you also don't want to put it so far away that like Linux and Tabby have no chance without getting help of breaking it themselves. But yeah. This gloom mechanic, how it will almost certainly work is there's going to be markers around the room for you guys to aim at tanks. And then this gloom will shoot across and people will soak it. On heroic, we only have to soak it 5 times, and there's really no bad way to soak it. You can all stack on top of one another and soak it and get rid of it immediately. On mythic, it gets a lot more difficult. It takes 7 people. The debuff is increased by an extra 20 seconds. And you cannot stand next to someone that's soaked for 12 seconds after they soak. So if this guy soaks and this person is standing right next to them also going to soak this gloom, both of these people are going to get a second stack of this gloom debuff, which is 1,000% extra taken from gloom. So they will both immediately die. So it has to basically create like a conga line to soak this thing as it's reaching its destination. Now, it'll be a while till we get to this boss. I'm mostly just letting you guys know how it's kind of going to work. But yeah. The other thing, and we'll go to the dungeon journal, is it says on Mythic this ability. And from the consequence video, they're saying it's going to mimic boss abilities. So essentially, wherever these gloom bubbles end up, from like here and here, it's going to mimic one of the dragons, and if it mimics Ezzorak, it's going to do another gloom, I think. And if it mimics Vaelgor, it's going to do the Fear Breath Cone. There's no testing that I can find at which that occurs at. So I don't know if that's a new thing again or what's going on there. But just keep that in mind. Any questions while I pull up the video?
The intermission is just the same, I'm assuming?
Intermission's the same. There's nothing that the Dungeon Journal says is any different. The only thing is that as the fight goes on, we get this debuff from Zaltath, which is just a stacking dot. And when we stand in that barrier, it consumes that dot off of us, so it takes it away. But when it eats it, it gets stronger. So for every dot it eats, this ad becomes stronger. I think it's just like a health increase. Yeah. Okay. Got this video.
Of time off of work for testing, but like, is it really worth it to take off time for?
This is just heroic. Again, I can't find a good one, but Wumbo makes an appearance again. So this is the frontal cone breath at the top of the screen with fear. Dispel them into null beam. So where the tank is standing at is where the tether is going to start at. So the more stacks you take, the easier it is for us to break. And this is where we're going to get the mass grip involved. I do have a whole combination of things for how we're actually going to do this. There is a talking point after looking at logs again, thick, that some logs had it so that mass grip could work for every single one of these orb spawns. Some did not. I couldn't find any reason why some could and some couldn't. But if we work off of the assumption that we cannot double mass grip and that we're going to have to do every third one we cannot, my plan is to arrange the players so that anyone that has a push-in is on the outside. So essentially we can create like a square and push in everything to the middle. So we can mass grip 2 in a row, and then on third we'll do a push, and then we'll repeat. The way we'll do it is we'll do a mass grip into a stun, into another stun, into an Ursul's. Let's and Mo, you guys will need to run AoE Curse of Tongues in this fight. We're gonna Curse of Tongues all of the orbs to increase their cast speed, and then once they are close to getting a cast off, we will beam. They should all be pretty damn dead at this point as well. The reason we don't want to start individually interrupting is as soon as we interrupt, they start moving a little bit. So we want to keep them all locked down in one spot as long as possible. I'm not 100% certain if stunning also would count as like an interrupt and they would start moving again from there. And then Wumbo and Zess, you guys will have to be responsible for gripping the orbs that the tank spawn. The other part of this too is how we do the mass grip is going to be semi-dependent off of which tank is holding which boss. I'm not sure 100% yet how we're going to do that, but we'll figure that out over time. The last thing about these orbs is on testing, they had an aggro table. So let's say that Dalt is really fucking up this one orb. It will follow Dalt. I have no idea if that's intended, but at least on testing, they had an aggro table. So don't run away from them too far. And then Nova, I'm sure you're going to be in the center for Starfall anyways, but you are the sun. Okay, Nova, be the sun. Let them all come to you in the center. Snap these. Can't recall on Heroic if snapping them is going to do raid damage. I assume it would. It seems like a Heroic mechanic to me, but... And then we're going to get this Gloom. On Heroic, the Gloom debuff is a minute long. So I assume we're going to get 2 Glooms before every intermission. Just like we get 2 of these before every intermission. On testing, they only got 1 Gloom before they went to intermission. Again, we're going to tank the ad on the outside of one side, and everyone will stack on the ad except if you get this debuff, and you'll just take it away from the ad. We will not tank it in the center of the room like they are. There's no reason to. We will give more space for all the people that get the purple orbs by taking it on the outside of the room. Again, another thing to keep note, the big boss at the top of your screen is now flying. Melee, you are not able to hit this guy. So it's not as simple as you are always hitting the same boss the entire span of the fight. And that's essentially the entire fight. Any questions?
I assume if we run into severe movement issues, which may or may not happen, a Warlock Gateway probably also works for a snap for the people who are struggling.
Warlock
Obviously
Gateway.
Everyone's sniping at the same time.
Yep. Warlock Gateway. The other thing too is it is a snare. So I assume Jetstream Windrush Totem is an option. But we'll figure that out. There's some things that I definitely want to test on Heroic and Normal to see how things are going to interact. Assignments for like Soaking Glooms, that will be set up. Yeah, I don't really think there's really too many other assignments outside of that, what we've already talked about. The Null Zone blowing up does the most damage. So Null Zone is danger. Void Bolt is just random damage that's happening to people. It's stacking. This is the dot that Zaltath puts on all of us, and that we get removed in the intermission. Void Howl is just dropping the orb. So that's why we don't want to be stacking on anyone. It does about 100k per. So what's that mean? If you stack on someone else, you're taking an extra 100k. My thoughts right now, if you're a DK, if you're a rogue, you're probably good to stack on one another. I don't think that's going to matter at all, especially if you guys pop AMS, and rogues are definitely going to pop feint. So like that's irrelevant. I can't really think of too many other people that could stack on each other. Priests, when I make assignments for where we're dropping orbs, Linux and Tabby, I will try to put you guys on the outside of the room as far out as I can, while also keeping knockbacks in mind to try to help you guys get out. I don't think there's really any other slow class people in our comp right now that needs that. If so, speak up, please.
That's okay. I got rescue.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions?